Meow. Hand over your license and registration. 5 guys. 1 retired Wall Street investor. 28 days. $1.25 million. Hollywood said no. Sundance said yes. And somewhere along the way, a word that means a cat sound became a cultural phenomenon that follows Jim Gaffigan to this day. This is how Super Troopers got made. It gets weird fast. Fact 1. Hollywood wanted Ben Affleck. Broken Lizard said no. The group wrote over 20 drafts of the script. Studios were interested, but only if they could recast and replace the director. They asked about Ben Affleck for one part. Broken Lizard said no. Every studio passed. Budget, $1.25 million. Funded by a single investor, a Wall Street retiree who saw the script and cut the check. Affleck was never meowed again. Fact 2. Vermont? Never been there. They shot in New York the whole time. The film is set in Vermont. Filmed entirely in New York. Highway scenes. Route 117 Dutchess County. Police station. The real Beacon PD in Beacon, NY. The shooting range fence in the background belongs to Fishkill Maximum Security Prison. Inmates were pressed against it screaming at Steve Lemmy the entire time he stood there in a bulletproof jockstrap. Geography is a suggestion. Fact 3. The opening drug scene happened. Sort of. The scene where a kid in the back seat eats all his drugs before the troopers reach the car. That came from real life. Broken Lizard drove an RV to Canada. A border guard spotted a joint on the dashboard. Nobody claimed it. A friend of theirs, panicking, ate an entire stash of mushrooms meant for 10 people. He tripped for 2 days straight. The scene made the movie. The friend is presumably still somewhere in Quebec. Fact 4. The syrup was real. All of it. The prop department filled the syrup bottles with iced tea for the chugging scene. It looked wrong. Too thin. No glug. Director Chandrasekhar ordered real syrup. The actors then did multiple takes actually chugging entire bottles. Close-ups. Real syrup. Wide shots. Some iced tea got kept in. Eric Stolhansky described it as the kind of decision that makes you question your career choices. The scene is 30 seconds long. It took most of a day to film. Fact 5. Farva called his own parents chicken fudders 25 times. Kevin Heffernan's parents wanted to be in the movie. Heffernan agreed, but refused to tell them what their scene involved. They knew he was going to say something rude. They were not prepared for chicken funchers. Shot in 25 takes. Each time, his parents sat there in the car and took it. Heffernan later called it a pleasure. His parents have presumably forgiven him, probably. Fact 6. Brian Cox called them. They didn't call Brian Cox. Captain O'Hagan wasn't a role Brian Cox needed. He's one of the most respected dramatic actors alive. Succession, Nuremberg, Braveheart. He called Broken Lizard. He wanted a change from heavy material. He asked if he could be in their stoner cop comedy. They said yes. Cox played it completely straight and made every scene better. When an Emmy-winning Royal Shakespeare Company veteran calls asking for a part, you say yes. Fact 7. Heffernan hated Gaffigan. Then Gaffigan became the most famous thing in the movie. Everyone wanted Jim Gaffigan for the meow scene except Kevin Heffernan. The two had competed for commercial auditions for years. Every fat regular guy part came down to those two. Gaffigan got them all. Heffernan was outvoted. Gaffigan showed up, shot the meow scene in 2 hours, and went home. It became the single most quoted moment in the film. People meow at Gaffigan at his stand-up shows to this day. Meow. Heffernan has since forgiven him, mostly. Fact 8. The meow scene was almost cut entirely. Gaffigan read the script and thought it was strange funny at best. He assumed they'd probably cut it. Chandrasekhar has admitted the idea originated partly because of his bad left ear. He mishears words constantly. The scene took 2 hours to shoot. In it, Foster says meow 10 times. Except he actually says it 11 times. Nobody caught it. Nobody fixed it. The extra meow is just there. A mistake that survived 17 takes and a Sundance acquisition. Now it gets strange. One Wall Street retiree. A maximum security prison. Real syrup. A man tripping for 2 days in Canada. And we haven't even gotten to how Fox Searchlight got involved. Fact 9. Sundance bought it for $3.25 million. They paid more than twice what it cost to make. Super Troopers cost $1.25 million to make. Fox Searchlight acquired it at Sundance for approximately $3.25 million, nearly 3 times the budget. Released February 2002. Box office, $23.2 million. Modest, then cable, then DVD, then college dorms. The return on that one retiree's check is difficult to calculate. Fact 10. Real cops watched it at Sundance and said, "You captured it." A group of Utah State Police saw the film at Sundance. Afterwards, they found the cast and said, "You actually captured what it's like to be a police officer. We play all those games when we're bored." That's the review that mattered, not Rotten Tomatoes, not box office. 5 actual cops telling 5 fake cops that they got it exactly right. Fact 11. Stolhansky was supposed to play Farva. He gave it away. Eric Stolhansky, Officer Rabbit in the finished film, was originally cast as Farva. He'd already played the outrageous loose cannon in Broken Lizard's previous movie Puddle Cruiser and didn't want to repeat himself. He handed the role to Kevin Heffernan. Heffernan turned Farva into the most quoted character in the film. Stolhansky played the quiet rookie. The guy who gave away the best part made the right call. Fact 12. Almost none of it was improvised. Super Troopers looks like a movie where everything was made up on the spot. Wrong. Chandrasekhar confirmed only 5 lines in the entire film were improvised. The rest came from 20-plus drafts of a tightly written script. The group's goal, 1 joke every 6 seconds. They counted. The chaos was engineered. The anarchy was scheduled. Even the extra meow was probably deliberate. Probably. Fact 13. They actually impersonated police officers. On a public highway, at speed, the cast wore real uniforms and drove actual police cruisers on live public roads. Chandrasekhar ordered Heffernan to stop traffic on a highway at 60 miles per hour. Stolhansky drove 100 miles per hour with his lights running and claimed he didn't know. Lemmy pulled over a woman who cut him off because he could. Years later, Lemmy was clocked at 120 miles per hour. The officer's nickname was Mac. He took a selfie instead of writing the ticket. Fact 14. The sequel was crowdfunded and set a record doing it. Super Troopers 2 was greenlit in 2015, but needed financing. Broken Lizard went to Indiegogo. They needed $2 million. They raised $4.4 million, the second highest amount ever raised for a film on the platform at the time. The sequel came out on April 20th, 2018. The date was not an accident. It opened at number 1 in America. Gaffigan flew himself to set on a private jet, shot for 6 hours, and flew himself back out that night to make his stand-up show. Get in, get out, meow. Fact 15. The group's original name was Charred Goosebeak. Broken Lizard started at Colgate University in 1989 as an improv group called Charred Goosebeak. When they graduated, they spent 3 days smoking and pitching new names. They landed on Broken Lizard. Their first film, Puddle Cruiser, was shot entirely on the Colgate campus. One member later failed out and freeloaded on his bandmate's couch until they were ready. That's the origin story. Charred Goosebeak is the better name. Fact 16. The meow scene made Jim Gaffigan famous. He worked on it for 2 hours. Before Super Troopers, Gaffigan was a working comedian, competing with Heffernan for commercial roles. After Super Troopers, people meowed at him everywhere he went. For years, at every show, in every city. He credits the scene, 2 hours of work on a $1.25 million indie cop comedy, with putting him in front of college audiences who then followed his stand-up career. The entire scene is 1 page of script, shot in a morning, worth more than any commercial he ever lost to Heffernan. Bonus fact. Harvey Weinstein sold the movie without buying it, watching it, or meaning to. At Sundance, Chandrasekhar bumped into Weinstein in a bar 45 minutes before the premiere. He begged him to come. Weinstein said, "If other studios see me walk out, you won't sell the film." Chandrasekhar talked him in anyway. The moment Weinstein walked into the screening, every other studio in the building noticed. When they were seen,